So in the human condition, we are like straddled with two different types of intelligence. One is like a worldly, phenomenal, limited storybook intelligence, and the other is a divinity. It's leagues. It's much beyond anything that you can compare the two. It's like you compare a grain of sand to the moon or something. So the insights available are so drastically different that it is impossible really to straddle both the worlds. So the spiritual seeker in a way is an attempt at straddling both the worlds, straddling both these intelligences. And the enlightenment or freedom is the letting go of the limited world, the limited intelligence. So we go from complete reliance on the limited ideas to trying to, you see, a phase where you're trying to make sense of the new insights that you're having through the lens or the framework of the limited intelligence. And that is why the spiritual seeker is a painful sort of thing, because you have moments of glory, moments of great joy, moments of bliss where you have dropped the limited intelligence, where you feel like that, and then we refer back to that, you see, and then we suffer, we feel limited, we feel like we lost it. So that is the seeming oscillation, you see. So the seeming oscillation of the spiritual seeker is trying to make sense of both the worlds, straddle both the worlds. And then what happens in freedom? You realize that you can leave the grain of sand. You don't try to balance both of these. You don't try to juggle both of these. You realize that the greater intelligence already includes everything that the limited intelligence could have to offer. So a complete reliance on that is freedom. And the beauty is that in this freedom, you are the presence of the light, which is presenting all of this on its own screen, is fully apparent and available. And that, in the light of which even the primordial vibration takes birth, is fully apparent. And you see this world as just a beautiful reflection of your own light. All of this effortlessly. Now, even with this, what I'm telling you, you can try to make sense of it. You can try to understand it. You can say, Acha, there are three categories. There's the light of Brahman itself, which is unperceivable. Brahman itself, in the light of that unperceivable light, the primordial light of beingness takes birth. You see? And then in that consciousness, in that being, this world play just reflects the light of that being. So you can create mental categories and things, but it's better if you don't. But you just meet it at the level from which these insights are coming, instead of trying to categorize. You see, because otherwise it'll just become like concepts in your spiritual shelf of the head. So instead of, the point behind pointing all of this is so that you can access that same source, not that you understand what is being said. You see? So what I've just shared, for example, your mind cannot really, it can make the categories, but it cannot truly validate this. You see, the unperceivable light itself, what? Your mind cannot fathom this. No? The greatest scientific instruments cannot fathom it. The highest imagination cannot fathom it. You see? Your memories cannot process this. You cannot meet it in any phenomenal way, even a small phrase like that. So if I say to you, meet the unperceivable light right now, you see? Observe that you can try to imagine it, but in imagination you are perceiving. You see? So it's still a process in perception. I'll come back. It's still a process in perception. In your head you can try to understand, okay, unperceivable, that's a very cool concept, unperceivable light. That's really nice. It's almost like a paradox. You can intellectualize it and try to understand it, but that's of no use. But somewhere in you, it's not a paradox. So the master's attempt is only to point so that these paradoxes, they open up that area of insight which is there for you already. So when the masters have said, my job is to confuse you, it is just to tell you that that's the wrong door number that you're knocking on. Not so that you can end up fully confused. It's just like you notice confusion there. That means you're knocking at the wrong door. Leave that. What else do you have? What else do you have? Is there an aspect of you where the unperceivable light is clear? So that, in a loving sort of way, we call the heart. That is that intuitive insight where this is apparent. Not just that there is this light of awareness, but it is my own self. So the occasion of Diwali, like I said in my message, is a beautiful reminder for us to come to the deepest recognition. Using the reflection of the light of your own being. All these beautiful diyas are shining in whose light? Are reflecting whose light? Are radiating whose light? And that light itself, the light of your being, that light of consciousness, appears to whom? Who is aware of that? So may this be the Master's blessing to you this Diwali, that anytime you see a light like a diya or a candle, may you recognize the source of this. May you recognize what it is reflecting effortlessly. What is being asked of you in a way is a quantum leap. It's a quantum leap of faith, because for your own good, for your own good, to straddle both your limited identity and what is being shown to you unrelentingly, relentlessly, is going to make you seasick if you try to do the straddling. Now the problem is that you are stuck. Your heart has already tasted the highest. So now it will chase that. It will chase that. It's found its home in some way. It's felt the call of home. It's recognized the call of home. So it is not going to retreat. Your heart is fully set to live at home. But it's like the child who still feel like they'll enjoy the playground, whereas their mom is calling them home. Come, you're tired. Then we still have a bit of that, maybe. No, I can play a bit longer. No, come home, you're tired. So like that child who's confused between playground and home, a little bit of that oscillation may happen. But you're stuck because really to come to satsang like this over and over again is a clear indication that the heart calling is strong. Otherwise, to come here and then just even feel it or hear it or any aspect of it, and then you feel like, oh, the playground is still very attractive. You'd be out here, you know. You would not be here on Diwali day. You'd be out playing cards or doing fireworks or whatever fun stuff with your friends. So that you can even be here on this day is proof of your longing for your true home. This is your true home. Kabir said, build your house, build the pillars of your house where nothing can be seen, where there is no birth nor death. So Satsang is the invitation, you see. I'm the real estate agent for that house. But you cannot maintain two houses. Inwardly. Outwardly, it's all fine. Outwardly, you in life, you can have your worldly responsibilities or not, you can do all of that or not. But your heart cannot be divided. You see, your heart cannot be divided between worldly desire and the desire for the highest. If you desire the highest, then what this body mind will experience in the world is up to the highest. If you desire only the highest, then you have to surrender what plays out in worldly life. You don't have to pick up a new desire of renunciation also outwardly. Only desire the highest. So, but you cannot divide your heart. You cannot say this also and this also. And I promise you that nothing of value will be lost. You will not lose anything that you will regret. You're only finding yourself, your true self. That light in which even the light of consciousness is born. So may this homecoming of the Lord be our homecoming as well, coming to our true home. And may these lights be a celebration of that. Final return from the Vanvas, the Vanvas of the worldly play, the mind, the worldly suffering. So may the truth be your Ayodhya. May the Vanvas be over. The kingdom of your heart has no lack. So we must not fear. We must not fear any notion of loss. If I want only God in my heart, then what happens? What about my worldly life? Nothing happens. Nothing to fear. one moment of the presence of the divinity, one moment spent with this divinity is worth more than the entire world can offer in centuries. So pristine that our mind cannot fathom it. How many lifetimes of pleasure are worth a moment of God? If we said, okay, here's the deal on Diwali, I have 2 gifts. 100 lifetimes of pure bliss. Or a moment of reality. A moment of reality. What would you pick? You know what I will say. 100 lifetimes is nothing, it's pure illusion. This lifetime is going like this. I don't know if you're noticing. It's going like this. Soon it will be gone. Looking back, it will be nothing but a fading dream. That which does not fade. This is the opportunity available to you. Build your house here, and life and death does not bother you anymore. Whether there is a universe or there is no universe will not bother you anymore if you keep your legs firmly grounded in your reality. You are done with this, otherwise you would not be here. If you are not done playing with the Lego world that we call the universe, you would not be here today. Now, what remains is just the dregs of some old notions of desire and grasping and wanting and this also and that also. Let the fire of Diwali today burn all of that. Burn all of that. This world and all its alluring notions and repulsive things are nothing for you. Stop looking for this world to become a sublime dream or preventing a nightmare. See that it's just a dream. What can you keep? Suppose you became your highest idea of in this world, the richest, the best partner, the healthiest body, the biggest halo, all the spiritual understanding small you, understanding. It is, I know this also, I know that also. I can write a book about every topic there is, all of that. Suppose all of this was yours. What can you keep? In all of this, you will not be able to fathom the light of one diya. What is this light? What is this light? You may say, oh, this happens and then oxygen bursts. It has nothing to do with it. We have a lot of explanations about it. But what is it? So even the world you cannot grasp in your head. So if Bhagavan said, okay, in whose light do you perceive the sun? Where do you know that answer? Where do you know that answer? You know the answer or not? In whose light do you perceive the light of the sun? In whose light are you perceiving this? All this beautiful light all around today. Whose light is it? Yeah?
It's my own light.
Your own light. What can confirm this for you? Your own self. Does the tool of perception tell you this? It's not telling. Can thoughts confirm this? Only provisionally. Yes, it is my own light. Because Bhagavan said, but that does not help because that is gone in a moment. A new concept can come. A new grasping can replace all these spiritual concepts in a moment. In the hypnosis of desire, all gone. But where does this knowledge remain? Unchangingly. Where is it clear? Unchangingly. And what is this lack of trust that all this pristine knowledge is available to us over there, and yet we have the silliness to make categories and say, no, it's only good for that stuff. Is it ignorance or arrogance? That, you see, where myself is apparent to me, there where Atma Gyan, self-knowledge is clear, what can be missing over there? Once you start the story wrong, then you feel that you are compelled to build on it and take it to some logical conclusion and still make it work. See, See, if you start the story with once upon a time there was a, where is the going to go? No matter how hard you try, in your narrative you cannot make the self out of the me. If your raw material is wrong, suppose you wanted to make this diya, but you start with corn flour, can you do it? Can't do it. You may try and try, okay, mix a little more water, put some glue in it, put something. Because the raw material is wrong. So once you start on the basis of your being somebody, you just gone off in the wrong track. So start again, start afresh. The truth is never lost. This is the wise thing to do. The unwise thing to do is to say, no, I've taken this falseness this far. Let me try to give it my best shot. Maybe one day the falseness can be made into truth. One day I'll make ice cream out of this water. Cannot do it. So no matter what you think you've invested, how far you think you've come, even if you think you are just 1 millimeter away from the truth, forget about it. Start afresh. Let this moment be the start of your new life in service to your heart, in service to the divine presence, which is undeniably clear to all of you. Don't make any ideas about what that means for your outer life. But inwardly, I am requesting and demanding a full sacrifice. Keep your eyes only on the divinity within. Allow that light to burn everything that is false. So it is a great giving up. A great giving up, but not a giving up of anything valuable. Can you live like this? Can you live like this? Yes, you can. And I am here to show you that you can. That is maybe the only value to the living embodiment of a master. To meet someone who can tell you that you can, because I did. And when I say that you will lose nothing of value, it is from experience. So, what does this mean? No wasting time on thinking about anything, especially the 4 variables of human existence which have us by our throat. No wasting time thinking about relationship. No wasting time thinking about money. No wasting time thinking about the health of the body. And no wasting time thinking about God. God does not need your thoughts. And if I'm going to be poetic, I can say God does not want your thoughts, it wants your company. Be with God. Don't think about God. The God of your thoughts is not God at all. It is your projection. The God of reality is the very light of your being. And if the light of your being goes away, then all of this goes anyway. What can you hold on to? Which relationship can you have if you don't wake up? If you don't wake up, the waking state doesn't come. Which relationship can you have? How much money can you have? So God wakes up within you, and all of it is its play. So this tiny sacrifice, which may seem like a lot, is a prerequisite to give yourself the highest gift possible. What if everything goes the opposite of what you want? Okay? Face that fear and get over it. That's the worst case scenario. And that's what keeps you in the juggler position. God also, but tightly holding on to what we think we want also on the other hand. See, it can't work like that. So hold on tightly to God and face the fear of what will happen. What will happen? Beggar on the streets. Okay. They also live. No? Instant of being with God as a beggar on the streets is worth more than lifetimes as a king. What else will happen? He loses his body. The life force, no prana left in the body, you're dead. Okay, it's going to happen anyway. Was it here that I was saying, or was it a private conversation? I was saying someone just, the fear of death is so strong, you pretend as if you're already dead.
It's a close
Zoom.
Or a Zoom call.
Satya.
What is it? Relationship. What is the value of a relationship if you don't even know yourself? don't even know yourself. It's like those kids play in doll houses and say, my doll is getting married. In UP we had, my young cousin sisters, they would have this, oh, bhaiya, please come for this thing, and what's happening? Oh, my doll is getting married to this other doll that a neighbor has, and they would have this event. You don't even know yourself. Who is having the relationship? And especially importantly, drop all ideas about your freedom, your enlightenment. It's all nonsense. It's a make-believe version of a free you, which has nothing to do with the reality of the freedom of your being. Your freedom is incomprehensible to your mind. You're free to present to yourself a million universes in a moment, in your own light. That is your immensity. You can play with a trillion universes effortlessly. That is your reality. And here you are hankering for one little body, something, this thing, that thing. So stop waiting for evidence of this. You have to take the leap of faith. What will happen? You bet your life on this stupid guy. You bet your life on this stupid guy who's telling you all this nonsense stuff. At least that much is clear that this is not your only life. So it's okay. Bet one. Bet the farm on it, bet the house on it. Let's see what happens. Willing to risk it? And don't let the mind trick you to make any story about how any of this looks outwardly. Nothing I have said has anything to do with how it looks outwardly in the outer life of the body-mind. You think, now I'll quit my job tomorrow. No, I'm not saying that. Inwardly. And then if that happens, it happens. It's fine. It's time to be done with the risk-free spirituality. A little bit, thrice a week, 2 hours Satsang. You see? Just balance out life. Keep the practical thing in balance with the spiritual. And, try to keep up the appearance of a balanced life. It's all nonsense. A full letting go. Risk it all. Risk it all in service to God. That is truly the highest gift you can give yourself. The beautiful passage in Nitnem in the Sikh religion, Ekomkar, we know this. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूर्त अजूनी सैभव प्रसाद आद जुगाद. Then it goes on. Then it is then how to be free from this. How to be free from the veil of this illusion. It is to remain in the command of the Lord, the hukum. And this I've shared this openly that in this expression I don't like words like obedience and command. God loves us. Why should He command? It's more like he's my buddy. He's my pal. But really, any attempt to exert your false individuality in the heat, in the fire of God's will burn only one of the two. Any guesses? Two, which one? Only the false can ever be burned. So be open to be in service to the Lord, whichever aspect of God appeals to you. It can be impersonal, it can be personal, as long as it is not about me. So how to follow God's will? We say, okay, it's a deal, Ananta. We're all together in this. It's a deal. How to be in service, how to follow God's will, how to take the risk. I'm willing to bet my life, you say, I will follow God's will. But how do I do it? I don't know. So, how to do it is to be in the apparency of self-knowledge, moment to moment. Only when God's presence is palpable to you can you follow God's will. If God's presence is not palpable, then how do you know you're following God's will? With me? This is a very important point. Because you may say, because whatever we've heard together and hopefully we are together in this. Okay, now there is no me. That much is clear. The pretend me has all these ideas and duality and desire and doership, all of that. I'm willing today to risk it all in the fire of Diwali. The holy fire of all these lights that are burning all over the world. I'm willing to burn it all. Burn all that is false. I'm willing to follow the command of the Lord, the will of God. It is not possible to follow the will of God till God's presence is palpable to us. Because God's will is not templatizable. You cannot say, it's codified now. That at best can be some ethical realm. So to follow God's will, God must first be apparent. Your presence is God's presence. Your presence is not a personal presence. It's not a personal I am. It is the presence of God itself. This I, which is pure awareness itself, is now not a mystery to any of you. This I that is amming is not a mystery to any of you. So remain where that is apparent, and nothing can shake you from that. Nothing can shake you from that, and yet due to the force of habit, from time to time you will be shaken, and that's fine. But as you have sacrificed personal desire, the shaking will be just momentary. The shaking will be very momentary after the sacrifice of personal doership, desires and duality. Yeah. So remain in the apparency of what I have showed you. Is to keep the highest in your vision, which is not sight, but your inner vision all the time. To put again poetically, keep your eyes on God every moment. And with your eyes on God every moment, you have no option but to follow God's will. That's all you have to do. It is not a two-step process. Because the roadblocks we have already removed. The roadblocks you have already removed in your sacrifice of a so-called personal life. Now these are very subtle territories. Okay? You may feel like to keep the apparency of the self or God apparent to me all of the time, I have to juggle my attention. Half my attention on God and half my attention on the world. That's not it. Because although you may come to the palpable shining light of God's presence, you may rest your attention on the shining light of God's presence with attention. Attention itself being limited does not fathom the unlimited nature of your being. Attention by itself cannot fathom the unlimited nature of your being, and yet you can. So there's a source of intelligence which is far greater than your attention, to which your being is already seen to be unlimited and timeless. You have that with you already. So you don't have to worry about what attention is doing, because as we keep doing these days, even if your attention is out on a worldly object, yet your being does not get lost. The self still remains in view, independent of your attention. So these are very subtle things really spoken about. So to live in service to God, to live under God's will, is to be in the constant presence of yourself and the constant insight about yourself. God's presence is apparent, and everything you see in the world is just a mere reflection of that very presence. That, in my view, is the highest gift that I can give to all of you, and you can give to all of yourselves. So this is consciousness reminding itself that it's done with the trivialities of this play, including the trivialities of the spiritual search. It truly is time to risk it all and follow. Risk it all and follow what is being pointed. No safety nets, no hedging bets. In this life, just one mere life, surrender yourself, surrender your heart fully to God. If it doesn't work out well, many such dreams will come again, don't you? If the Guru is truly the bringer of light, and your mind is the voice of darkness, then what I'm offering you today is the core of the light. And if you do this, your heart will shine in God's light, in God's grace. It's time to be done with this meek, sheepish spirituality, which is to go to Satsang thrice a week to try and become a better person, have a balanced life. This is not that kind of Satsang. To try and increase your spiritual understanding. It's not that kind of Satsang. Pick up your sword and chop all that is false. If there is fear, face it. Subtly your mind may be saying, but God plus just that one. If you can't, then expose it and burn it in the fire of Satsang. But expose it not so that you can value it more. Expose it that you let go of all value of it and let it be my problem. So don't hide smartly behind even exposing as a way to give value to garbage. It is to say that I recognize it as garbage because it's starting to stink. I recognize it as garbage because it is starting to stink, but still it is a comfortable hell for me. It's a comfortable hell because that is all that I'm familiar with. And so I want to offer it to you in the fire of Satsang. So that I may meet this divinity.
Just wanted to ask expose, right? So that may be subtly mind says at least in the realm of relationship, at least I may not entitled to have that kind of understanding, at least I may not entitled the relationship with the other side, at least she did not give that type of respect, the type of I may not entitled the normal happy things which I see in the world. This is what many times it comes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for exposing it. And yes, you're not entitled. Not entitled. Live, as Guruji says, live as if you have no rights. If you hand over your life to God and say, but at least, please, that guarantee. No. No guarantee. Cannot say, I fully devote my life to God. But conditions apply. Read the fine print, God. I said, only if. Cannot be that way. This is the fear. That's why I said the fears which the mind will produce and say, but what if? A moment of God's presence is worth 100 perfect lives that the mind can conjure up.
For me, the fine print is being visible now, but I also see it's visible because of my own idea of how God should take care of me.
Yeah. Have you seen a more nonsensical notion? Sorry if it hurts or sounds, but the one that is effortlessly by its mere light producing universes by the dozen. That one has to be told by our mind how it should run one body. It's absurd. So good to spot it. Good to spot it. And good, as we say it also, we can hear it. No? It's like, what? These are all the things that your mind will do to prevent you living in God's light. And what's it about? What should we do? Let's see. What should we do? Make sure that I have enough money, or make sure that my relationship goes fine, or what? Just these 3-4 variables. If we know better, then why are we confusing ourselves with God? You know better, we can tell God, okay, take care of me this way, that way, that way. Then take care of you yourself. Why are you wasting time with God? I'm not saying to you, generally speaking. In a way, it's like Arvind said that way. Once you hired the best lawyer, then leave that one to do the job. No? If you're going to keep saying, okay, God, I trust you. You are the highest being in this universe. Almighty, all-powerful. But please, God, I know what to do with this life. Let me just tell you. Be demanding. We cannot be demanding. The time for that childish spirituality is over. You have to go open-fisted. Open-fisted. No rigidity about anything. Just surrender. Open-fisted, hopeless and clueless is the best offering for God. Sounds terrible? It's magnificent.
One of the things that I found hard to let go of when asking or talking to whatever is the physical presence of the Master. battled a long time within myself,
Yeah.
saying, should I not even ask for the physical presence of the master? Not that I got an answer, but I recognize that it's a battle.
Physical presence of the master towards what end? Not an end in itself, obviously. Yeah? Towards what end? To bring you to the presence of the divine itself. No? Cannot be just in the physical presence of a master. I mean, not in the physical presence of flesh and bones and blood. That is, of course, you must be seeing a lot of that. You see? So you're not asking for more bundles of food. You see, with a little bit of halo. That's not what you're saying. You're saying, give me a bridge. Give me a conduit to you, God. So, the master's physical presence at best is reassuring in the sense of saying that I have done it and so can you. You can do it. I can say it now. I may not be able to say it tomorrow, so best time is to do it now. You know what is the most painful part of the battle between head and heart? The most painful stage of this battle is when it is in the middle. Half-hearted and half-headed. Full-headed was better and full-hearted, of course, is the best. But this half-half is the time of struggle. But nothing is forcing you. Full-headed you cannot become now. You've gone too far. You've gone too far, as far as I see it. The only way is to reach the top of this mountain. You cannot go back. That door is closed. No matter how hard you try, you cannot turn away from this now. Even if it is not in this satsang. From what you have seen now, whichever form of satsang, whichever form of contemplation which brings you to intuitive insight, you cannot turn your back away from that now. So the only way is out. Just accept that and let go of your gravity. Let go of your gravity, which you're trying to still maintain as a safety blanket. It is not giving you safety, it is only giving you struggle. Allow God to dictate this life. Don't ask for a God-assisted life, but a God-dictated one. It sounds horrible to the mind. Why horrible? Because the notion is that I have the best idea about my life and God should assist me. To recognize that God is the higher intelligence, the highest intelligence. Is there still any confusion about that? Between me, who doesn't even exist, and God, who is the higher intelligence? So who's got a better plan for your life? Who's got the best moves? You're planning to participate in a dance competition and you have the option to channel Prabhudeva or be yourself, what will you do? Isn't it? To lead a life, bow down at the feet of the Lord, is to lead a life as God, not as two. And I don't want to say this often because then that feels very good to the ego. Just like, I'll get to be God finally this way. First, it has to be bowed down to be chopped. Only then oneness is possible.
Ananta-ji, can you dissect a little more how to see if my action is God-inspired or ego-inspired?
Yes, yes. I'll tell you a beautiful thing, okay? Thank you for this question. So, when you have let go of the false, in that very instant, the past, present, and future are all gods. You see? So, you could have spent your entire life in the mind, and the worst sort of mind, you see? Like a sinner, the worst sinner. But in the moment you have let go, surrendered to God, all of your past has been rectified. It's all free. This is the beauty, because God does not live in time. God does not live in time. But the thing is, once you tug at the tree of conditioning and you pull one leaf, then it seems to again be. So this is the whole thing. So a moment of surrender, truly, there's no problem in your past, present, and the future. Yeah, but in the moment of the hypnosis, because ultimately past, present, and future are fictional. They are notional, they are fictional. In the limitations of a narrative, as much as you may try, you cannot squeeze God in. In your narrative, me will always be God. God for me, which is that God-assisted life, will always be primary. And in the hypnosis, you will feel instantly that you are in hell. As familiar and as comfortable as it may seem. The only way to fix your past, present, and future is to hand over this moment and see the light of God within you. Everything is cleansed. It's all fine. You know this in your heart. You know this in your heart. All of us do. But if you become evaluative about it in your head, obviously it cannot be fathomed there.
Isn't it possible to recognize it when it happens? I mean,
That's why I'm saying you recognize it in your heart instantly. That your past, present, and future is empty of the error of limitation, the error of ego.
no, I didn't mean it like that. I mean that when you surrender, you recognize that something else is taken over. I'm just, I mean, I don't know about the past, present, whatever, but something else is doing, because that personality seems not to be have so much sway, like you recognize your whole way of behavior is not what's playing now. It's something else.
Inwardly, it is a completely different life.
Yeah.
Inwardly, it is a completely different life. Outwardly, it may continue to be the same or not. That's up to God.
So what I was asking was that that's not a conclusion. It's because this habit of making conclusions makes me very nervous now. You know what I'm saying? That so when I
Let's experiment.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
what is there? Okay.
I mean, Joe, I don't know how to say.
What about your past? All the mistakes, all the times you took yourself to be the false one,
I have to think
all the
about
time
it.
you heard the voice of limitation and selfishness. Right? It's all gone. It's all gone. You stepped out of time. To meet God is to be one with God. But you cannot meet God to be one with God. Is it? It's not for you. How to say this? The ego wants to do what? It wants to become God. Is it? So if I say, when you meet God, you'll become God, you say, yeah. You can only meet God with your head bowed down. Not come. I want to be you. You cannot Shah Rukh Khan your way to God. Do with me as you please. Full heart, full sincerity.
Today you're using all celebrities, Prabhudeva, Shah Rukh Khan.
Mind can be freed from the past in this moment. How about the momentum gathered in the body in the form of sensation and the surrounding?
Everything is in God's kingdom.
So like if I have anger, right?
If you're
If I have anger for someone, right? It is a momentum from the past.
try God's presence and try to retain the grievance or even the muscle memory or whatever you want to call it. Try. Seek to see and not to understand. Seek to see and not to understand. And then it will reveal itself to you in that way. Find for yourself. Now, there are so many examples of the greatest murderers and things like that. They turned to God and then they became the greatest sages. Was it Valmiki? I have to take that leap. It's a leap of faith. We will not understand. We will not understand this. We just have to risk it.
It's really powerful what you said, seek to see and not to understand.
It's time to bed the house. It's time to bed the house and not to reassure ourselves anymore. No time to reassure ourselves. What if it doesn't happen like that? What if I'm not freed from this? Jump. no safety. What is that bungee cord called? The cord, the bungee cord which saves you. You jump.
We've spoken about this confirmation of whose light are we seeing. Why do we need confirmation in the first place? Is it not the lack of sight?
The confirmation of this is requested or proposed or provoked so that you learn to trust that intuition where this can be confirmed rather than
It's not the confirmation in perception or confirmation.
try to confirm it in perception. See if you can. So all these questions, who am I? Can you stop being? Are you aware now? In whose light does perception happen? Perception is completely helpless to help you with this. Cannot do it. So that is why it's beautiful, because you can try all your with full attempts, you see, to confirm in whose light is this light perceived. You will never perceive that light. You will never perceive that light. And yet you will know in your heart. Just like you know that it is you that is aware. Just like you know that you can't stop being. That you're being.
Of what's not.
Huh? In your head, that's as far as you can go. But I'm saying positively confirm. Where will you do it? A niti is the maximum you can do in your intellect, not this. You see? But where can you confirm it? All these sages say all kinds of things. All kinds of things. Maharaj said, the universe is nothing but a firefly. It is flickering for a bit and will go away. From where is he saying? Is he just talking nonsense? He has no reason to fool us. There is no motivation to fool us. He's not being paid to share satsang. There is nothing that he wants from you. But he's telling you that the universe is a firefly in front of you flickering. And he'll go. Where do you know this to be true? After reading this, why we still have Maharaj in the world? It's some ludicrous nonsense, no? To the head. But somewhere we know he's speaking the truth. Somewhere we know he's speaking the truth. You can live there, you can safely live there. It's not a small change, it's a complete switch. It's a complete switch, which outwardly in the story of your life, if somebody else was to narrate, they may say it's happened progressively over years. But you have to completely switch moment to moment. Cannot continue in this love triangle. Little bit of head, little bit of heart, kabhi yahan, kabhi wahan. What other reassurance do you need?
there was this phase where it is apparent independent of perception, presence.
Yeah.
So it was existing, the perception, the mind used to block the perception and check if there is something. That bit was not working.
Yes.
And then with
Yes.
a lot of back and forth idea of that,
Yes.
with the perception and things moving down, it is independent obviously.
Independent.
There is no way to resist
Yes.
anything as
Yes.
such.
And that is the beauty of open and empty. The beauty of open and empty, the absolute is apparent, God's presence is palpable, and the world is shining brightly. What better way to live can there be? And if it's not the case, please share with me, because maybe the instruction may not be clear then, and I can clarify what open and empty means. So I'm saying again, as you open and empty, the absolute is apparent, God's presence is palpable, and the world is shining brightly. All at the same quote unquote time. Not real time. The instant the absolute is apparent, where is time? This is a question, for example, that only your heart can answer. Notice the change in climate between open and empty and hypnosis of thought. That is all. That's all that this switch is about. How magnificent is this? Effortlessly. The light beyond perception is apparent. The light of God is palpable in its core as the vibration of being. You see? And all of this is clearly a reflection of that very same light. He doesn't put it in any lower degree. Because the reflection of God is also God. But the instant you insert, yes, but me, in that hypnosis, nothing in reality changed, but your life has changed. Or how life seems has completely changed. That's why this is called Maya, although it does not exist in reality, and yet it can seem to be our experience. Empty of the hypnosis, there is no Maya, it is the Leela. In the hypnosis, the Leela is Maya. Cannot call it a play from an individual perspective. That play is squeezing your neck. I cannot call it Leela. In the hypnosis of thought, to call this Leela is just fooling yourselves. It is not God's play, not yet. Empty of it, empty of the mind, in the unborn, no mind. What is all this? It's my play. It's my play. Then we can say it's a Leela.
Ananta-ji, in your case, does your mind stick on one certain attention?
Yes. The clouds can continue to appear in the sky. You see how you can see clouds? You can see clouds come and go. But as children we learn, when you look at a cloud, what can you see in that? What does it mean? You take the cloud shapes and make meanings out of them. That stops. And that doesn't completely stop. So it's not 100% stopped here also. But compared to how it was before I met Guruji, I would say 99% stop. And I don't pressurize myself for 100%. Felt it is so clear, but the mind was giving one thing. What if I lose this? I don't want to lose this. So Guruji also shares this story, but it was here also. What if I go to sleep today and I wake up tomorrow and be gone? So I felt like no sleeping. So the mind was playing with this stuff. So in this case, and it's not a recommendation, it's not a template, but I feel like that 2-3 months after meeting him, life made the space where I could just sit without much happening here, without much thing. I felt like that was very helpful here as well.
The thing is, you wouldn't need to bother with right instrument, wrong instrument, or all of none of that. And I keep going back. So it is important.
This, in a way, a lot of the punching had already happened here, so I was already pretty smashed when I met Guruji. So a lot of the insight, the presence of being, a lot of that had happened through that whole play of sadhana over so many years. So I feel like when I went to Guruji, it was all pretty much brittle. Then this also is to storify it to some level. You can't really say what happened.
People can become absolutely sure that they're not there. That's like, how can you absolutely sure
that they are
eye
not?
Is not there. It's like a separate eye.
Yeah. You are absolutely sure right now, but not in the head. First, you have to see that there are two sources of insight. You can see that there are two sources of insight, because try as you might, you cannot squeeze this in your head. A hammer will never tell you the weight of the room, no matter how much you try. What shows you, what tells you that you exist? What is that source of insight?
Being.
Yes. What brings being to light for you? Stay there. Anything of value. So, who do you love? You don't have to reveal her name. How do you know? Is it just the outer feeling? Like that? Could be parents. It could be your girlfriend. It could be once you have children. It could be anyone. It can be even simpler. Like, have you heard some music where you did not understand the words, but still you loved it? Or do you love like Beethoven's something or Bach something? Where do you recognize it? Go to anything which is truly valuable and see where it is.
We feel good in their presence, what we love.
And yet, when you say feel, you are talking about like an intuitive feel. No? You're not talking about feeling hai. That's why I keep talking about my children. No? I know I love them, even if they may be frustrating me at the moment. It's like, why haven't you done your homeworks? You see? The anger may be there. And yet somebody says, do you love your children? Yes. How do you know? It's not. I may not be feeling that love. Oh, I love you. Where is that love now?
In my body, in the form of emotions and sensations.
That's what I'm saying. Empty of that. Suppose that emotion is not there at the moment. It is anger. You see? Because just to make up some situation. Suppose your son had his SAT exam and he didn't put the alarm clock, so he missed it. You see? In that moment, you're not feeling a lot of emotion of love. No? You're feeling that emotion, and yet somebody says, "Truly, do you love us?" Yes. Okay? So there is a deeper knowing, which is independent of emotion, and that is how you love God. You're not always feeling the love of God also. Anytime you're feeling so unfair, why me? Even to complain to God, somewhere you must love God, but it is not dependent on the feeling always. Same with the master. Yeah? Over the years, I'm sure we frustrated each other enough. But there is never a lack of love. Somebody comes and says, do you still love us? Of course. Does he always make you feel, I love you? No. Same for the master. Where is that no? So many times, I don't know, for the first few weeks I didn't understand anything you said in Satsang. I've got this report so often. And yet, I knew I had to be here. I knew I had to be here. Where was it known? Not feeling, not thought. Thought was saying, run. And maybe even attacking, saying, who's this stupid guy? Look at the clothes he wears. Look at his hair. Whatever. And yeah, it can happen day to day also. Today I just didn't want to come to Satsang. But my bike got me here. What is that? Not really the bike got you here. Intuitively you knew. So what is that? Where do you know God? Where do you know God? Where do you know that there is a self beyond perception? Anything of value is only known there. And that is completely different from your head.
The last line, anything of value.
Yeah?
Finished line.
Anything of value is only known there. The voice in a rush, the voice which pretends to be the know-it-all, the voice which is telling you that you are limited in time, is not the voice of love, truth, peace, God, self. But that Satguru presence, that divine intelligence, where yourself is apparent to you, where your being is palpable and unlimited. That is not a matter of perception. None of you have perceived the unlimited being. None of you have perceived an unlimited being. Maybe you are imagining like a being which encompasses this universe as if it is like a layer on top of the world. That's all nonsense. It's not like that. It's unperceivably true. That your being is boundless. Where is this known to you? Only rely on that. Only rely on that. No matter what the situation is, what the challenges may seem, because that is your Satguru presence. Surrender to that. Risk your life on it. In fact, beyond risk your life on it, sacrifice your head to it. You have understood as much as can be understood. You cannot understand anymore. Now you have to jump. Without guarantee.
Can you just brief a bit on the presence? Is this self-apparency same as God's presence?
As
or
your
anybody's presence? We they say presence. Yeah, I can feel the presence. I can sense the presence.
Can you? So let's verify, okay? So I said, as you open and empty, your self is apparent to you, which means that I am aware, that awareness is apparent. Check. All of us, let's check this together. You just effortlessly open and empty. Are we aware only of perceptions? I know the question has become familiar, I'll find a new one, but let's treat it as if it is fresh. As you are open and empty, are you aware only of perceptions? Or is there something beyond perception that you can confirm? confirm, no? It's not just perception, the witnessing of perception, which is I. You see, I am witnessing these perceptions. It cannot be perceived, and yet it's confirmed that I am witnessing them. Yes. So effortlessly, the self is apparent. You see? Remain like that. Your being has a boundary. Your existence. Does your being have a boundary? Is your being palpable? Try to stop being. So this being is consciousness. Yes? If it's confusing, it's okay. For 3 years reading Maharaj, I was confused. I had no idea. What is it? So I was stuck. No? I knew in my heart he's speaking the truth. But I could not find this being. Like, what is this I am? What is this I am? So try to stop being. In the attempt to stop being, it becomes very clear. Yes?
Being is present.
Yes, that being is presence. The presence of being is presence. The presence of being you can bring your attention to. You see, not the entirety of your being, but maybe that's, you can keep that for a moment. And then, is there any distinction between the appearance of the world and you? As you open and empty, is there a world and me? Yes?
It's like no, but then there are self-doubts.
Yes. Yes. And this is the nature of this. The mind feels immediately threatened. You're getting effortlessly, you're recognizing the highest, the absolute. You're recognizing God's presence, and you're recognizing the world's light as a reflection of God's light, which is what we are celebrating today anyway. You see, at Diwali. So the mind obviously will be threatened because it has no legs to stand on. All that the masters have proposed is being just made into pharex and being fed to you. Obviously the mind will come and say, but. So now it is up to you. Which voice will you listen to? And if you sacrifice your head at the feet of the Lord, then the choice is clear. If you still want to keep your head and be in the heart, it's going to be a struggle. Most spiritual seekers fail. Okay? Most spiritual seekers fail because they don't risk enough. And what is to risk enough? To risk it all. So the difference between a God-assisted life and a God-dictated life is really the difference between lifetimes of seeking and a culmination of true insight. So if all you want is a God-assisted life, it's still about the non-existent me. If you're willing to bow your head down and say to God, do with me as you please, then what can the mind doubt? It can only push the buttons that you hold up for me, I'm not getting it. I don't think I'll get it. Who is that one? Who is the protagonist of that story? Still me. It's like the truth is knocking your door down. The mind is saying, no. You're caught in the storm, the thunderstorm of God. But the mind is saying, you're not getting wet. Jump into this complete surrender. You're already jumping. Good celebration.
Can I sit down?
Yes.
Oh God.
So don't mollycoddle your chains anymore.
What is sometimes just that when I'm in witnessing, just witnessing, and this presence doesn't feel like, I don't know, it feels like, oh, not there. I don't know what to say.
Try.
Yeah, I needed to see it because I get confused. So confused.
Try to be open and empty. Your awareness is apparent. Your being is palpable. And the world is shining brightly. Yes or no?
So when this being feels palpable and there's no distinction between this world and me, then the witnessing doesn't seem to be.
Try.
I don't know.
Try. I want to see that. Is the witnessing a product of your. Is the confirmation of the witnessing a product of attention? Or even your being for that matter. At best we may say that the appearance of the world is within my attention. Because attention itself is limited. If I ask you, is your being limited? Say no. So where is your being known? Cannot be through attention. Although your attention may rest on it, the recognition of your beingness, the recognition of the vastness of your being is not a product of your attention. It's a very common confusion in spirituality. The unlimited nature of your being cannot be known with a limited instrument called attention. It has to be only with intuition. It has something to do with the play of being, the projection of this word, with the ability to perceive objective things. So most subtly you can observe the primordial vibration, the presence of the primordial vibration of being, I am. But that presence of being confirms the presence of being, not the vastness of being itself. That is known intuitively. So although it is a beautiful exercise to rest your attention in your being, the confirmation of your consciousness does not need attention. How many of you are feeling like you're meeting this or it's too late? इसको बाद में देखेंगे. Meeting है? बाद में. Bounce it.
Father, if you don't find your self body, then it is very meetable. Like when you check you're not here, then it's like.
Yeah, it's fully instant. See, if you're taking effort, we are going in the wrong direction anyway. What I'm saying is instantly apparent to you, except under the brief moment of hypnosis of a thought. Always apparent, exactly.
Just chase this permanency, this idea of permanency should always be there. And looking for an evidence. Evidence used to be some sort of emotional state. Openness to any ideas, non-judgmental behaviors. She's
not possible. The timeless, even the notion of timelessness, where can you meet? Even the idea of eternity, where can it be fathomed? So all our worldly references can only be in time. Oh, from yesterday and today, I have not felt anger. How long will we keep that up and measure our timelessness? We cannot do it. And yet timelessness is not alien to us. So when we say rest in peace on somebody's passing, it's not alien to us. Where is it known? Where do you know that that one has not died, that we are wishing them rest in peace? Is it just pure hope? These questions are worth asking. Is it pure hope? Oh, I believe. Is it belief? No, somewhere you know you were not born. Somewhere you know you will not die. In fact, death is an alien concept to you. Because you will say, even people who are never come to single satsang will say, maybe in this life rest is not there for me. I'll rest in my next life. Death is alien to you. Where is the eternal life apparent to you? Is it apparent somewhere or no? Where is that? Not in your head. If you have sacrificed yourself, nothing can get in your way. No distance, no time, no physical circumstances, nothing. So the leap of faith is the boundless openness, independent of consequences.
Even when we say that the leaf comes and goes, even that you're looking up time somewhere.
Yes, and which time is that? Is it? Already we can see that time is a projection within being, is it? And yet we can also see that even being comes and goes. So we are already comfortable with two frames of references of time. Where is that? See, like the mind cannot fathom two times. So now you think time 1, which is the projection of beingness, time 2 in which being also comes and goes, and the eternal timelessness. 3 times. Where can you meet that? Impossible. The mind is just like it's an expression. And yet, somewhere, all of this is very natural. What is 3 times? Hundreds, millions of times. So what? The only trouble is to try and understand. We feel like understanding is a value.
So this thing about being coming and going is also an intuitive thing rather than a memory.
Exactly. Because never in the mind can we confirm such a thing.
Please.
But in our experience, when we're in deep sleep, it's quite natural to see that this feeling of time is not there.
Okay, so this is beautiful. So where do we experience deep sleep?
I don't know where, but yeah, I
Don't know
what,
that is important.
No, sorry, like what I mean was that deep sleep actually can be experienced even now.
Thank you so much, Father.
Thank you. I'm happy you were able to make it today. I experience deep sleep. Many times we are able to say, I never experienced deep sleep. Because in deep sleep I am also not there. And then I say, how do you know that? You were there to see even that.
But I don't need what I was saying is, do I need intuition to know my own? I mean, it's so apparent, that experience.
Yeah. Well, how is it? That apparency is called intuition. That apparency. That apparency is called intuition. Because the apparency seems to be lost in the hypnosis. And in the apparency, it is known that it's no unchanging reality. And yet the job of the hypnosis of the mind is to make that apparency seem unapparent. Make your timelessness seem like it is time bound. Yeah? Make it seem like your existence is bound by space.
It's also apparent that whatever.
So when it is apparent, we call it intuition. When it is mind, we call it mind.
So when whatever I may be doing or not doing, or with my attention or not, I just know I am. I mean, that knowledge of my existence doesn't leave me in any way.
Yeah. Now, if by knowledge you mean that it is apparent, then in the hypnosis it is not apparent. If by knowledge you mean that when it is apparent, it is known that it is always that way.
Okay, so can it be that when I used to the inquiry, then I realized that what I was mistaking was that this thing.
What changed before and during the inquiry?
So the change was, I realized that person thing is an idea. It's not that I am is not.
Do you realize it as an intellectual calculation?
No. So I look, I see that this witnessing. I mean, that's how I see it. Is that it just has nothing to do with this individual will or any such thing. No.
What is recognized?
What is recognized is that
you intuit.
Yeah, what I intuit is that I'm effortlessly.
When you intuit everything. It is not that you intuit something. Now, as you intuit the entire ocean, in that intuition, a wave may rise to the surface of your mouth.
Oh God.
A wave may rise to the surface of your mouth. and it may express that this is what was recognized. So the recognition is never limited. The recognition is never limited.
So I
He will do all this in front of his wife.
So the intuition when I looked was that what I am as awareness is I don't need no perception.
Okay, intuit something as a specific recognition and show. This is beautiful contemplation. Intuit a specific intuition. Can you do it?
The bizarreness is that it has no quality. Like, what is this?
There's no
Like, that's the
quality,
bizarre.
there's no specificity. It
Yeah.
is either the knowing of all there is or a not knowing anything at all.
When you use the word all there is,
Yeah.
whatever appears is all there is.
No? Even and beyond.
But the word
All that appears is different from all there is in the way we are using it. So when I say that as you open and empty, you intuit yourself as awareness, you intuit your presence as God, and you intuit all that appears as the reflection of God itself. It's all in an instant together. So when I say all there is, all
Yeah, but I don't intuit it all at once. I mean, it comes to me
Try to do it
slowly.
specifically.
I
Show
mean,
me,
I
show
don't
me,
know how
show
it
me,
happens,
show
but I
me.
know all.
Just open and empty.
Yeah.
Now what happens slowly? What if the wheels there are moving slowly or fast? Try to intuit slowly. Don't know all there is altogether. Do it piecemeal. Let's see. Can we?
Other than this, the emptiness itself is the knowing of all there is, something like that.
Emptiness is what?
In itself, like, there is this concept of knowing all there
Yeah.
is. And that seems to, like, the mind will say, oh, you don't know this, you
Yeah.
don't know that.
Yeah.
But there's this emptiness that we
Yeah.
feel.
But emptiness in reference to a category of full and empty in the mind.
Yeah.
Now let's leave even that. Leave even that. Now see? It's full, open and empty without even open and empty. Just now what is the basis of knowing this? Can we find?
What is the
Basis of this knowing. Is it open? Is it empty? Is it full? Is it all? Is it nothing? What is this?
It's just is, then there's no all empty. I mean, then.
Are you recognizing this all at one time or piecemeal?
No, all at one time.
See?
And that it's not.
Now
I mean, there
try
are
to
some-
recognize only see the presence and don't see God's light in the world. Don't see that you are aware.
So if there's nothing arising, like no words, nothing.
Is
but
there
it's
arising
just-
or not arising now? Okay, tell me what you're saying just for communication and what you're, tell me
Just
which
for
part.
communication.
Okay. See?
That there's nothing really to report yet, nothing seems to be like this or that. I don't know.
Yeah. This is beautiful.
Because this is like a thing that you know everything. When you say this,
Yeah.
every time it like, I feel like I take it in my head and I'm like,
Yeah.
it like doubt
Yeah.
arises that it takes it like,
What is the
you
capital of
really know.
Timbuktu? I don't know. Not like that. Is it?
Kind of, not really like that, but I think like some kind of benchmarking can happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's why open and empty is the prerequisite. So benchmarking is the process of the mind. So as you open and empty, just allow it to come in. As you're diving into the ocean, as clouds appear, don't matter so much.
Father, I love you very much.
Oh, I love you very much too. This is worth contemplating. Sometimes the mind is unfathomable. When I say either you know everything or you know nothing at all. In true insight, everything is known. And in the hypnosis, nothing at all.
Every time you think about everything, there was a mental grasping of what everything means. Intuitively, you know it is everything. You don't have to validate it.
Yes. You cannot.
You can,
There is not an instrument made that can validate this. So to the mind, if you're just somebody comes and is listening just from the mind, it's complete hocus pocus. It's complete hocus pocus. No? It's like, where is the evidence of this? Not with your tools, but in the heart. These are not alien tools. If we had only the mind available to us, scriptures like Vibhu Gita and Ashtavakra would be thrown in the dustbin. They're complete nonsense. And yet, they reveal so much. Because somewhere we know it is true. Anybody?
Life.
Yeah. Anything?
Kind of. Sometimes I was worried. And I really have no plan. I've said that before, but I've never really experienced it. There's just kind of a numbness to be honest. Like maybe I should feel one way or another about
This
something.
is the best way to watch this movie. It's the best way to watch this movie because what's going to happen in the next scene. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it.
Be the directors of it.
Huh?
We can try to be the directors of it.
Not really. You can only surrender to the directors. You surrender with full humility, only then you can become one with the director. If you surrender wanting to be one with the director, you cannot be one. That's why Advaita is so confusing. The spiritual ego also loves Advaita. Like Ravan, I also am one with Ram. I'm the same. Why should I bow down? Isn't it? That's what the whole Ramayana is about. Ravan is a very learned scriptural, even a sadhaka. But he's relying on his conceptual insights, which are aggravating his spiritual ego. It's a fair question actually. Why should I bow down to Rama? Ram says, why should I bow down to Rama? If we are one, we are all God. The great lesson in this. Great lesson. You cannot be one till you have bowed down. So, when you say you know everything, it is from that source that all these words of Satsang, all the scriptures, everything comes from. In fact, that same source where the word comes from. So, to observe the intelligence of even nature is to know the source of its knowledge.
Yes, that's known intelligence. That way it's known.
Yes.
Yeah. But in that moment,
But there is no other way of knowing it. There is no other tool available where you can know everything. You see, so if you send your mind in there and say, what do we actually know? Like, do we know everything? It does not have the capacity to pull out. You see, and yet it is not that that knowledge doesn't come, that cannot sprout out, and that is why in the Vedas and things like that, people are still making scientific discoveries which are proving the facts of the Vedas. So Einstein said, I may think 99 times, but only when I swim in the ocean of silence do my greatest insights come. Scientists are probably the greatest scientists.
there's no kind of rush on. We can just remain and learn more.
Yes. Because if the desire is to know everything, then everything cannot be known.
There's no real
Benefit to it.
even a thing
There is no real benefit to this knowledge from the mind's perspective. So the greatest gift you give to your true self, but from a personal perspective, it doesn't have to have any benefit.
So this content.
What is, for example, the benefit that Maharaj got or Bhagwan got? And personally speaking, I mean, they got the greatest gift and they passed on the greatest gift to anyone who was open. But you look at Bhagwan is a frail old man, died of cancer. What's the great benefit he got? Maharaj died of throat cancer. What's the great benefit he got? At the mind level, nothing. Nobody wants a life like that. Still lived in that small house in Mumbai, did not even die a millionaire. And yet, he got the highest gift. And he gave the highest gift. And so should all of you. Because you're meeting it, and what is being revealed to you, that is what naturally you will share. You can't help it. Just as this one, I couldn't help it. You will always share your truths, whether in words or not, that nobody knows. How do you know what happened to him? How does he know what happened to him? Just sitting here. Cannot know. And yet it is undeniable. That's what I'm saying. Anything of value you cannot compute. You can only see. You can only experience without sight. Meaning by see. Somebody first came to Satsang, what happened? Did he have some electric current? But can't say. It's zapped. How do we know this? Only intuition.
Mentioned that a mental conviction to 100% is never possible. There is a continuous thirst for that kind of or more kind of conviction somewhere that keeps coming back.
What do you mean by thirst? Is it the same way that you are longing for the truth? That which longs for the truth does not long for two things. See, if it is multidirectional, you say, I want the truth, I want God or the self, which is all the same thing. And by the way, I also want the mind to become. Have that? It's like this? Just check.
It's like a question arises like, what exactly are you waiting for? What are you?
Question is a thought, then the thought is not longing for the truth. Your heart is longing for the truth. Because if it was only a thought saying what is true, you would have said bye-bye long back. Something pulls you here. That something is your heart. So trust only that. Trust only that. As humble or as useful a desire may seem from the head, sacrifice it. You are not going back. Your mind may propose that to you based on this play of the scenery, play of perception. So when the mind proposes that something has changed, notice that I'm right there. This one is only to enable that meeting. Just an instrument that I'm using. Don't confuse them to be my reality. That reality is your very heart. Back, even physically almost less than an instant in time.
I don't know.
It's not tomorrow. The best way to watch this movie. Because this can be very troublesome. Just like to know I don't know anything is as bad as knowing, thinking that I know anything. You can talk that subtly.
Yeah.